Hello, wherever you are in this glorious world. Welcome to my little channel on my discussion. Today, I'm going to be discussing installing Drupal 9.8.7. The number really don't matter on a Linux system. In this case, the Unix the Unix that I'm using is Ubuntu. I believe it's 20 point something. I lose track of them numbers. There's so many numbers. What I'm going to discuss, the most common errors you may encounter when installing Drupal on Linux. Sorry to say, when you install Drupal on Linux, it don't start working right out of the box. If it was on Windows, I haven't tried it, but it probably start working right out of the box. There's no hassle. But since Unix is a system based on privileges, Drupal cannot overcome some of the native privilege that Linux, Unix 2. In this case, the one I'm using, Ubuntu Linux, is not. If you're a new Drupal user using Linux, it's going to be a hassle. Luckily for me, dear people, I've been using Drupal for a number of years. So I had my period like you all when I was heavy into Drupal. Then I stopped. Because the daily pressures of life, you got to work and all that. I stopped. But since Drupal is a content management system, we're going to get into it right now. Right now, you see I'm not even on Drupal. I'm on my Linux command line. Since Drupal is a content management system, it is based on using some type of database. If you're using LAMP or WAMP or one of those derivatives, Windows, Apache, MySQL, PHP, LAMP for Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. MySQL is like the hard. Well, I'm basically about to say you will never start Drupal, maybe WordPress, if you don't have MySQL installed. So first you have to start MySQL. That's why I'm at my Unix command line. Now, I like to use MySQL in root super user mode. When I'm in my default mode, from what I see, it will not let the root MySQL user in. So I'm just going to switch to super user mode, and then I don't have any trouble logging into MySQL. So I'm just going to type in SU, hit enter, type in my password. Damn, I just type in MySQL. I don't even have to put /p/u. I just type MySQL because I'm in the root mode. Remember, the highest privilege on Linux. So I just type in MySQL, and since I'm in the root mode, it will log me into root user MySQL user automatically. I hit enter. Now, for the newbies out there, the first thing you're gonna have to do is create a user for your database. I'm just gonna type in the word create. I've already set mine up, but I'm saying, you can go right to the internet and look at that create command. So that's step one. You have to create a user. The next step, while you're in the database, you have to grant privileges. I'm just going to type in a grant command. It's longer than that, but you got to type in a grant command to give your user access to whatever database or all of them that you want to use. So after you created your user, after you granted them privileges, then you might as well worry about installing MySQL. But before you even do this, as I stated earlier, you should install LAMP, WAMP, XAMP, whatever derivative they have. Use that AMP stack first. Then you go to MySQL. Then you create your user. Then you grant them privilege to the database. So now I'm good to go. So I can exit out of this. EXIT last. And also, I know when we're using MySQL, it's good to use PHP, my SQL admin. But you know, when you're first creating a user, it's best just to go to the command line. It's best to do that first. Then I use PHP my admin later on. But first, I go back to that database itself and create whatever I need. Okay, so now we can start. Then also, you notice, let me go to some other directories on here. You notice, I went to the Drupal site. I downloaded, in this case, new Drupal version 9.3.15. Then I created a folder. I just called it ABA. You can call it whatever you want. That's the routine. So you go to your Drupal site, download your folder, extract it. It's going to make a duplicate copy of the Drupal 9.3.15 folder. But you can name it whatever you want like I did here. So we got that out the way. So next, let's go right here. And now I'm going to go to what the directory. And then you have to, of course, you have to, and when you download it in my Linux version, I'll place that file in var www HTML using the sudo user. But I'm just going to say the most. I just want to install Drupal to show the new beginners what you're going to see most. That may give you a headache. Lucky for me, as I stated, I was using Drupal for years, so I wasn't intimidated by the errors. Let's see. Okay, we're right at the Drupal screen. Let's see what we're going to do now. Save. Select your installation. I'm just going to select standard like most of us do. That's step number 1. If you're new to Drupal, you will see this file system error, and you're going to see this setting file error. I will worry about the clean URLs later, but those are the biggest 2 errors you're going to see: file system and setting file. So let's take care of that for the new user. So I'll go back to
make a right turn on Carrollwood Road.
Let me minimize this. Close this folder. I'm done with that. Now I can go back to my command line, which I'm at. Alright, so I just want to put it back in my home directory. Alright, good.
Right turn on Carrollwood.
Now I want to change. I want to get out my this root mode. So I'm just going to exit out. I want to get into the standard user mode, so I can use. I'm in my standard user mode.
Make a left
Now
Island Road.
I want to change my directory. CD /var, like I said, as in var www
Turn on Carroll Island Road.
HTML. I want to list everything I have here. In this case, I want to use my CCC directory. So I can say change directory to capital C, then there. Let's go back to here. What it's asking for, I want to look for my site's default files. I have to make that writable. Like I said, for the new users, for Linux and Drupal, this may be help to you. So let me list it. I'm going to hit LS, list. Let's look for it. There it is, where my mouse at. I see sites. So I can say sudo change mode, because I have to make it writable. But since it's just a test system, I'm going to make it, I'm just going to give it 777. Change mode. Mode. I want to make it recursive. So I hit that. That's the recursive command. And I want to say sites. And, uh-oh. Why is it not showing that? Let me list this again and make sure I'm in the right folder. Yes, I'm in the correct folder. Oh. Sudo change mode. Make it recursive. I'm gonna give it privileges 777. I'm gonna do sites. There it is. Hit enter. I have to put in my password. Let me put in my little password. And it's done. Now I can just say list long all the files. Let me look for sites. And it's straight across. RWX, all straight across. Let me go back to the Drupal installation file. Let me hit reload. Okay, so that's taken care of. Now the next error, the settings file does not exist. So I have to go to sites, default, settings. So let's go to sites, default. Click up here, change directory, sites, default, list. And they got that, you see right there? Default settings, PHP. So I just want to say sudo copy default settings. Then I'm going to copy it to settings PHP. Alright, let's list it. Alright, so it's there. So let's go back to the web browser. The setting file does not exist. So let's see if it exists. Alright, so that was step one. Now it's saying the file is not writable. So we go back. I want to type in sudo again. Change mode. It's just a file, so I just can put 777 settings. Hit enter, so that's done. Let's go back to the web browser. So that's taken care of. Now we gotta go to the clean URLs. That's an Apache issue for the new users. So the thing about this Linux version, and maybe even the Mac, is gonna make you an expert at that Apache. Remember, LAMP, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP. I guess the lower one is PHP because it don't make you trying to, but it still it needs all of them really. So now we have to go to the Apache part. Let's go back to the terminal. Now I know where it's located, so I'm gonna say change directory, etc Apache 2 is right there. List S. I have to go to sites available. I'm gonna go to sites. Oops, I have to say sudo. Now I'm gonna use the nano program. Nano. I just call it. I have to go to. I'm sorry. I have to go to the sites available folder. I have to say change directory. Sites. AV. Right there. I'm in a folder. LS. I'm gonna clear it so it can look a little bit neater for you. I'm sorry. Let me clear that. So let me say LS. Now, The main thing is going to that 00 default. That's the file we have to configure. That file is dealing with, what is it called? A virtual host. That's your virtual. In case you want to have multiple sites on your computer, you have to edit that default virtual host file. So I have to say sudo nano. I'm gonna just type 000. Then I hit the tab key. See, that's one thing about Linux. I like that. Hit enter. Now you have to scroll up. I'm gonna hit page down. You see right here, I was making a practice of this. I have a directory, A directory for my BB. Now I gotta put one more. Make a space. Type in the directory. Make sure I spell it right. /var www html and a directory ccc. Alright, that's done. Close the bracket. After typing that command, allow override all. Hit enter again. Now I have to type in a closing directive /directory at. And make sure I typed it in right, because you know Linux is text sensitive. Directory. Oh, let me hit Control X to get out of here. Yes. Hit enter. Now you have to start the whole Apache server again. So that's system CTTL. I have to type in restart Apache. Now if there's no mistakes, it should do. Or I should type in sudo first. Sudo. I got that in. Restart Apache 2. Okay, good. It seems like it's restarting. I can check it by just typing in status. And there it is. I can know all the other words. I see it in green. It's running. Now, let's hope, crossing our finger, because you know Linux is a big hassle. Installing Drupal on Linux is a hassle, especially if you're brand new. All right, so let me do this. Okay, good. So it worked. Now I can put in my database. CCC. You type in your username to the MSQL database and put in my password. Let me type it again. If it did it right, it should keep going on. Okay. See, more errors. Maybe I did something wrong. Failed to connect to your database server. Oh, I probably didn't give my... Oh, okay, so good people, I discovered what I did wrong. Let me show you what I did wrong in my database. So let me click back on here. Let me go to SU. Type my password. My SQL. I'm just gonna be official. User, root, and prompt for the password. I'm just being official. Now I'm gonna say show. So we see there my database is AA, all lowercase letters. That's what I did wrong. See, when I come back here, I got it uppercase. So I have to make it lowercase See. And then let me hit enter. Let me type my password again just to be on the safe side. Just to be on the safe side. I hit save. Now it says Drupal's already installed. I don't know.